We're going to talk a little about cooking. Father David Ross is with us today. We all know he loves to cook. He's done some cooking segments with us, but it's one of those things that people almost like love or hate, you know, and some people just don't even like to cook at all.
That's right. And that's why I read this interesting article in the Wall Street Journal. Again, you know I like to read in the evening. And the Wall Street Journal by Amy Rothy, and it was entitled To Cook or Not to Cook. And as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, my heavens, this is exactly my experience when I'm preparing couples for marriage. So she talks about the fact that her best friend, only after she got married, told her fiance, or told her husband, and I don't know how to cook. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, when couples come to me, many of them will say, no, we're not worried about that. And my response is, oftentimes, well, you can only go to a fast food place so many times, and especially take the kids, before, you know, you'll start to see all kinds of problems in the relationship. So I myself enjoy cooking, but people, I find, are scared to cook. Some are just very much afraid to pull out a pot or do anything. Some can't boil water. And so I'm thinking, you know, in our school systems, we need, and some school systems have this. We used to have home ec when we were kids in school.
Right.
Now, if you call it home ec, kids don't want to participate in it. But I did a little survey of the students that were at LCC where I work, and I said, would you be able to participate or want to participate in a class in a culinary arts program? You give it a fancy title. Oh yeah, I'd like to do that. Now I'm not sure if they just want to get out of school or something like that. But you know, to teach them some very simple dishes besides just macaroni and cheese or something like that. But teach them a dish. You know, I said, why don't we make some pastas, some nice carbonaras? Or I'll teach you how to do a chicken parmesan or a beef bourguignon or something like that.
Right.
They couldn't pronounce it, but that's okay. You know, but
even how to scramble eggs, make an omelet, something like that.
Exactly. Now, I enjoy going to restaurants, but there are some things I don't like to do. I don't know squat about cars. I really don't know squat, but I did learn how to fill the tires with air one time when I'm going down the highway, and I had to take care of that. But something like eating is something we have no choice in, do we, if we want to stay alive. So consequently, I'm thinking that if we could overcome our fears of eating, you don't have to have a fancy food either. You know, my dad would come home from work, and Mom would be working also at Memorial Hospital. Dad would come home from work at the post office, and one of my favorite dishes, pardon me, was his meatloaf. And so, you know, you don't have to spend hours cooking. Just a simple meatloaf takes a little bit of time, but I could remember the aromas in the kitchen, and we'd all look forward to sitting down and having that dad's meatloaf or Mom's chicken or something like that. I can't replicate those things.
Right, yeah. Well, in the article, she talks about how her dad was the cook. I think that's also something, I think it's getting better, but everyone thought the woman had to cook.
That's right.
Well, I mean, my brother's the one who cooks at, you know, his house and stuff. That do it together, or it's okay if, you know, the dad cooks.
Well, I find it, you know, it can be a relaxing thing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I don't eat until later in the evening, but at the end of the day, when I come home from work or something like that, I sit down and I'll read the paper, and then I'll decide what I want for supper. But what I do sometimes is I make preparations for supper in my mind when I get up out of bed in the morning, you know? Now, a lot of people can't do that if you got kids and stuff like that, but
I love that's when a crock pot comes in good, by the way.
A crock pot,
yeah,
that's right.
Throw it in the crock pot, then
that's exactly right. That's exactly. No, it's something I enjoy, and I invite people to think about it in a positive fashion. And you know, today, you can go out to these stores. I'll get a rotisserie chicken, for example.
Those are
There's
awesome.
no way I could do that by myself. I mean, and spend all the time doing that. But then there's gobs of things you can do with a simple rotisserie chicken. You know, it's just wonderful. So, what's your favorite food to cook?
Well, I do, according to my family, make a good meatloaf, by the way. So I don't mind making meatloaf when the family's around, but I told you, I don't really enjoy cooking as much now when it's just one person, but, you know, when people come and...
Do you find it relaxing?
I don't know if it's relaxing, but I like to be able to you know, be social and have everyone together and everyone sit down together. I like everyone sit down and have a meal, you know, at the table. I don't want TV trays every
Yeah,
year,
I do the same. It gives me pleasure.
Right, yeah, pleasure,
to
I
make
guess,
other people happy.
Yeah, exactly.
With food, and it's a history.
We all love to eat. We like to socialize and fellowship around food.
Exactly.
So
without your cell phone in front of you.
Yeah, really. Although you can go online and find recipes too. That's easy
you
stuff.
Can.
All right. Well, thanks, Father, for bringing this up.
Thanks.
All right, don't go away. Noon Edition continues in a moment.